recently I got a message on Discord asking me to renovate a pre-built. So I was thinking, why not renovate it, but also decorate it for fall? And the one that they wanted me to renovate was the Cedar Crest. Honestly, I really like how the exterior looks. The green is like really complementary with the brown. This is what the interior looks like. They use mostly wood textures. This is probably one of the most pre-builts I will probably fancy, especially for it only being like 50k. I think it's actually like worth it.
It's free real estate.
Renovating a house means that you can pretty much delete everything but the walls. Wait, is there like a way to bulldoze everything but the walls? Okay, good. I'm so smart. All right, now that we have pretty much a clean canvas. So the theme that I'm kind of going for this house is that I want it to be like a modern suburban home that people usually go to for trick-or-treating. Like, you know, those really nice, like modernized neighborhoods in the suburbs. That's the kind of vibe I'm going for this house. Okay, after like 40,000 minutes later, I got the roof. I'm so bad with the roof, I can't. I also do want a patio. I'm thinking like the patio can go right here. And of course for the driveway, keep it simple like this. All right, I feel like the shell of the house is pretty much done. So I'm going to go ahead and decorate with the concrete, and then I'm gonna outline this with fillers as well with some like wall trim. I'm also gonna decorate this part of the house a different texture so it doesn't look all the same. And I'm also going to outline the perimeter of the roof only because I think it just looks a lot better, more like realism to it, since I do want this to be kind of a realistic suburban home. And then we can go ahead and add these like square pillars for the front here, and then we can add this plain short fence for, like the curb of the driveway. So I still want to keep the garage where it is. And as for the door, we can do this traditional front door, but I want the front door to be red. Just hear me out, okay? Just hear me out. Now we can add some standard windows. We're gonna resize these. And then now I'm placing another flat roof because I kind of want a garden right here, and I'm gonna copy one on this side as well. And then we can of course place a few bushes and a few shrubs, and then we can make these all colors. And honestly, I might add another garden probably on this side as well. And then we can add like a bunch of falling leaves in the front yard along with like a tree. And honestly, maybe we can get a basic transparent cube, put this rake on it, and then turn this over to create the illusion that someone was just done raking. That actually is kind of eating. And maybe we can add, I guess, another one on this corner. We can add a lamppost at the end of the driveway, and then we can place like another wall lamp next to the door here. And then honestly, we can probably add a carpet out here. We can like add some outdoor seating, and then we can add like a fall pillow on this chair, and then copy this and place it on this side and make this one have like a blanket. And then in the middle we can have like an end table. And then honestly, we can add another end table on this side, and then we can put like a candy bowl along with like a pumpkin, and then we can place another one on this side, and then we can add some more pumpkins around these pumpkins. And then at the front here we can actually put jack-o'-lanterns. And then honestly, I feel like we should add this fall welcome mat at the front door to give off more of that suburban look. And then we can decorate underneath the porch here some like hanging ceiling decor. Okay, I feel like the exterior of the house is completed. Now let's finally move on to the interior. Okay, so obviously this is gonna be like the living room slash entryway, and then on the inside I'm thinking we can do like a medium tone gray, and we can add our wall trims, and then we can make the bathroom like a marble color. And now we can add our doors to the bedroom and the bathroom and the garage. Okay, so as soon as you walk in, I definitely want there to be a traditional console table, and we can add some more like pumpkins in here, and then we can use this like round mirror, and then we can grab some like books, then we can have like a coffee table book along with like ghost candle on top of that, and then we can get like a armchair, and we can put like a few pillows on that. And then next to the door we can place like a coat rack along with a few jackets, and then we can place like two long portraits here on the end. And then lastly we can like add like a little carpet. Okay, now that the entryway is finished, let's move on to the living room. I'm thinking a shelf can go here in the corner, and we can just fill this up with books. I'm thinking about adding a fireplace here in the center, and then I'm thinking about adding some like structural beams to the corners of it, and then we can add a TV here in the center along with like a few frames, maybe even these pumpkins on top of the fireplace. We can add a carpet here in the center, and we can add a transitional sofa, so we can add a few pillows. Maybe we can even copy the blanket from outside. Then we can grab a basic cylinder and then size this up to be a coffee table, and then we can place some books on there along with like a pumpkin candle. Now we can add like like a few plants. And then lastly, we can do a few curtains. Alright, I feel like the living room is finished. Now let's move on to the kitchen. So I definitely want the sink to go right here. Then the fridge can go on this side, while the oven can go on this side. And then we can add glass hood. And then we can get like a tall cabinet in the corner there. The fridge can go right here, while the sink goes here. Spice carousel, we can like put these jars on top of the fridge here. And then we can add some like oil next to the oven, and then we can also add like a toaster and then a coffee maker, and then we can also place this mat down for the sink. For the dining table, we can put it here in the middle. Then we can place these like dining chairs. I don't know why I'm placing 4-seater dining table, because I mean it's literally a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. We need this. Am I actually crazy? And then we can get this little doohickey that I still don't know how to pronounce. And there we have the kitchen. Let's go ahead and work on the bathroom since we're right next to it. We're gonna take a shaker drawer, and then next to it can be the toilet, and then we can also add a shower right here. I might take this out because of the shower. Now we can add a sink in here along with this mirror, which will just resize this, and then we can add picture frame lighting above it. And then on the sink we can add some more pumpkins along with like a few toothbrushes and also some soap. And then next to this we can add a hand towel along with like a trash bin, some toilet paper, and then maybe even like an industrial table that had towels on. And then lastly we can add a photo above the toilet here, as well as a little bath mat. For the bedroom, instead of doing a double bed, I'm thinking about doing just a single bed with its own like custom headboard, and then we can add a blanket on top of that, and then we can also add a throw over blanket, and we can just go ahead and add some pillows. And then we can add this traditional nightstand right next to it, which we can just place some more books. And then next to the bed we can possibly add a desk, and then we can copy these curtains in here, and then we can put like a laptop along with some like desk organizers, and then an office chair. And then for the dresser we can place this dresser along with this TV, and then we can of course place a few pumpkins on here, and then maybe even this little ghost candle. And then lastly we can add a big carpet in here. Now for the garage, I'm thinking we can just do a huge carpet and then add this diamond plate to it, and then of course we can add some like cabinets in the back as well as some counters, and then we can add like a lawnmower on this side, and then maybe a chainsaw on the counter here, and then we can place like a box here, and then maybe like a few more boxes here, and then of course especially like a toolbox probably. And that's pretty much all I'm gonna do for the garage. Actually no, I'm gonna put this on this side because I still want to add a backyard. So I'm gonna place the door right here, and then we can add our backyard right here in this little section. Oh yes, we'll definitely add like a trampoline, and we're definitely gonna need some more leaves, and then we can add like a little grill outside along with like a foldable table next to it. I feel like this is where like most of like family events will happen. And then we can add like a little picnic table right over here, and then we can add like a hose, and then like a hose spigot next to it. The build is finally complete, so let's take a tour. So here we have the exterior of the pre-built. Obviously I did keep the same layout due because it is a renovation, so the garage and all the bedrooms and bathrooms are still the same, but of course I made this more into fall theme since it is spooky season. So you can see I have pumpkins everywhere right when you walk up, and then here is where you can get your candy. I think it's such a cute little cozy spot. And then right when you walk in, this is what the entryway is looking like. And then if you go to the right, this is the living room. As you can see, I added a fireplace, which I think was a nice cozy touch to the living room. And behind me is the kitchen and the dining room. It is kind of small, but it has all the utilities. Behind the table is the bathroom, which is very minimalistic, but that's kind of what I was aiming for. And then down the hallway to the right is the bedroom. The bedroom is very aesthetic, especially the way the sun is shining through. And then down the hallway again is the garage, and then through the garage is the backyard, which we have a trampoline and a grill outside. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Box a lot.